Hey, what's up? It's Tagar, formerly the video game guru, but due to the banner change as well as a little bit of a hiatus, I've decided to return to form with a new form, a transformation, if you will, into a more multifaceted channel focused around Star Wars, anime, and of course, video games, the initial jumping point of this channel, so to speak. After taking a little bit of a break and life getting chaotic, quite frankly, I decided it was time to come back and broaden my horizons with things that I'm well versed in. Looking at the channel's analytics, my videos that kind of strayed off the topic of video games were the more popular ones. So if that's what seems to get the followers, get the subs, and get people at least looking my way, well, who am I to say no? With all that out the way, this first video is a bit more themed towards my anime-inclined fellows and ladies out there, and the weeb, otaku, whatever, and myself. And that topic is tournament sagas or arcs within anime, and my personal favorite. With all that out of the way, as far as the introduction and letting you know what's going on, let's get into it. Tournament arcs in anime are usually a mark, a check, a rung on the belt, so to speak, of you made it. You finally did it. You hit the milestone of having enough clout to where people are talking, hypothesizing, and postulating about the different possibilities of the characters within the show to the point that, well, now we can justify a reason to have everybody fight, or have everybody from over here in this region of your show, in this region, or this group versus this group. You get to just have it out. Usually in the shonens is what you're seeing this in. You'll see it in sports, you'll see it in cooking anime as well, maybe certain slice of life with interesting twists. But that sweet, sweet sign of you made it, being that tournament saga, ooh, feels good to get there. Everybody thought that My Hero was going to be the reigning champ after they got theirs. Everybody knows that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is the grandfather of tournament arcs. You got the Shaman King tournament, the Royal Knights selection from Black Clover. You have Doflamingo's tournament from One Piece, the Chunin exams, Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a battle tournament series as a whole, but with cards. And the list goes on. But what I'm here to talk to you today is about my personal favorite, and the one that I feel is the reigning champion over all of them, with its complexity, its nuance, and its payoff. And that would be the Dark Tournament from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, initially, I don't have any particular type of criteria per se that would denote saying that this tournament is the best tournament overall. But when I think of the list of tournaments that I've seen over the years, here are some of the things that I think make up the pillars of a well-structured tournament arc. You got your narrative setup, your layout of the tournament itself, like where is it at? What are we doing? Why are we here? How exactly is the tournament structured? The power system within the anime itself holds a pretty significant weight, I would feel, for at least the enjoyment of the tournament. And most importantly, the whole reason you see a tournament based in a shonen, at least primarily, is the fights. But wait, some of you may say, you mean to tell me that the Chunin exams multi-stage test where they had, a written exam, a fight in the forest, as well as a scavenger hunt, collect what you don't have and get it from the other team, and then a straight up balls to the wall prelim tournament that had Gaara versus Rock Lee and then Naruto versus Neji that broke out into a war? That doesn't fit the criteria. No, it doesn't. Not to me. It don't. It ain't got it like that. It's cool, but it ain't like that. Or some people may say, what about Yu-Gi-Oh? You just said that it was entirely tournament based. It was all battle. What? How could you mean that something based around an entire tournament setup is because it's cards? It's cards. I don't want to watch a show entirely about cards. I'm not 12 anymore. I want a little bit more than that. No, thank you. What does it is Yu Yu Hakusho. All the way. Undeniably. You got the narrative setup. Let's start there. Alright. The whole Dark Tournament arc gets kicked off with Yusuke and Kuwabara, newly empowered, feeling themselves after some near misses and some very close wins, but ultimately getting more powerful and doing a little work for Koenma with Botan. Going on a jaunt through the forest, taking out demon after demon, going on progressively as they go into a tower to rescue a demon girl who is being used and abused for her magical ability to produce tears that are worth more than any gem that can be found in the human realm. So they're going to stop a little of extortion and slavery and abuse. So they get into the actual mansion itself, and they take out demon after demon there. Pretty easy, until they get to the Toguro brothers, who are the enforcers for Tarukane, the piece of shit who literally looks like he has a phallus for a head. Yeah. And these guys are dangerous. They wipe out gigantic beasts in the swipe of a hand. There's a weird dynamic between the younger and older brother. There's a lot of air of mystery around them, but there's a level of sophistication and danger that also can't be ignored. So you have the setup for these guys being the ultimate test for Yusuke and Kuwabara in this particular mission. They breeze through all the way up until them, and with a little bit of inventive quick thinking and rivalry being put aside for teamwork, they get the job done and they take out the Toguro brothers. And with some other narrative points in there as well, some story building is put in play, and you see a romance being built up, brother-sister relationship that's flourishing very, very minorly. But also, the people that Yusuke and Kuwabara just defeated, the Toguro brothers that is, they aren't necessarily defeated. They played dead. And it was all for a setup to see these new upstarts in the demon/spirit world, so they can coerce and probably command them to take part in the Dark Tournament, the most dangerous tournament in the entire known existence, where the worst of the worst from both realms come and duke it out, and at the end of said tournament, you get whatever wish, by any means necessary, granted for you. Well, they just passed the inspection. So, you get a little bit of everyday life, goes back to the slice of life stuff for like a solid 10-15 minutes, maybe a full episode, can't remember, you'll see here as I breeze through. And what happens? Yusuke is called out while he's going on a little date with his girl, and what does he see? He sees the dude that he just stabbed in the stomach like, a couple days ago, calls him over to an abandoned building, and then proceeds to casually flex on him, destroying said building with wind pressure and his movements alone, after pulling some Frieza shit and saying, "This is only about 30% of my power," as he proceeds to make Yusuke almost piss his pants. Off in the distance, Kuwabara is watching, who then realizes that, I'm not even as strong as Yusuke. This dude ain't even bother to come find me because he probably knows that I'm gonna see him anyway. What's going? I've never seen Yusuke scared, as the same building that Toguro was destroying is crumbling around him. Then as Toguro walks off, the other two teammates that will inevitably be joining, Kurama and Hiei, are in the distance in the moonlight on top of a building, seeing what this giant surge of power was. And Toguro, being the badass that he is, looks up at him and, just gives him a look of, yeah, you already know I'm coming for that ass. So after that, everybody then has to start getting real ready for something they were not expecting. Also, the caveat to this tournament is that if you deny the invitation, you and everyone that you know will be hunted down and killed per the committee rules. So you can't say no. And here we go into the Dark Tournament. So after a wee few bit of months of rigorous training, Yusuke, Kuwabara, Hiei, Kurama, and a mysterious fifth fighter all band together to get on the boat that takes them to the demon realm, or kind of like a nexus in between. Not necessarily like a nebulous nexus. It's like an island that exists between the human and demon realm that they're able to go to. Once they take that boat there, they will be able to arrive and get their spots in the tournament. But before they even get there, since they're the guest players, by the way, sorry, I got ahead of myself, a little excited. This is the layout. This is the layout section. Before they get there, They then have to take on all the demons that are out for their blood because they are the current guests. And the current guests are usually the most hated or most sought after. And with there being 3 humans and 2 demons who look like human sympathizers or human lovers, I mean, take whatever, ism you can think to tack onto that. So you have extra hate and vitriol. So they have to survive the ride to the island. So before the fight, there's a fight that pretty much allows them to flex and show after they leave a litany of carcasses and body parts that ain't nothing but the people that actually got here on the merit of strength will be worth their time or efforts. As far as the actual setting and layout of the tournament itself, yes, it is a 1v1 5-man woman monster team apiece with 3 out of 5 victories, progressing that team onto the next spot in the overall roster. But it's the fact that you have all these demons and then some humans, a cabal secret society, 1% of the 1% elite. I don't know if there's like a particular word to describe these kinds of people. You see what I'm getting at, though. Those are the kind of people that fund a tournament run by demons, and the tournament being a deathmatch preferred style. KOs are fine, but ideally you want to kill in the most gruesome, blood-curdling, viscera, sinew, and gore inducing way that you can possibly muster up with your demonic or spiritual energy. And it's just interesting to see how orderly it is and how put together it is, but it has this undercurrent of savagery and bloodlust. And then it's not even funded by monsters, it's funded by monsters and rich people. Are they one and the same? Is there social commentary mixed in with this fight? I don't know. Moving on. So, that's the overall layout and structure of the Dark Tournament. Beyond that, we have what I would consider the third pillar of most shonen or series that try to, I suppose, have or work up to a tournament arc or have combat: the power system. The power system in Yu Yu Hakusho is based around spiritual or demonic energy or pressure, with each individual that can be cultivated within yourself in a number of ways, but it can be applied in just as many equally vast ways. You have characters like Kuwabara, who can manipulate his spiritual energy into a sword. He's more akin to the spiritual ability of sensing, seeing, reading, feeling, but he can materialize that into whatever he needs in the form of his spirit sword. You have Yusuke, whose approach to his spiritual pressure is a spirit gun, a spirit shotgun, a spirit wave, raw strength and bolstering his abilities, as his approach to life is a head fast, headstrong. He has the ability to see things as well, but you kind of see how their powers correlate to the individual. It's based around that person's demeanor and how they cultivate themselves, represents how the power cultivates within them. You have Yoko Kurama having beautifully graceful flower and nature-based magic, so it seems at first, to savage demonic plants that burrow within you and suck the life force out and kill you when he turns into his demonic form, which is equally graceful and beautiful but hides the bestial nature. You have Hiei, the quiet, brooding Vegeta antagonist archetype that has all the power in the world to destroy everything, and he knows it, and he acts like it, and his power shows that, because he's damn near the MVP next to Yusuke in the whole tournament, and his power and the way it's manifested represents that. And throughout all the different demons and spiritual people that you get to see throughout the tournament, you get to see how power manifests and, I suppose, means something differently to each individual with how they've shaped their power. It's cool. It's a really good power system. There's no numbers, there is no crazy terminology. It is me using what is inherently mine that I've cultivated to a level of perfection to use in this way, shape, or form to throw these fucking hands at you. Ideally to the death, at least in this pretext. So, that is the power system for the Dark Tournament within Yu Yu Hakusho and Yu Yu Hakusho as a whole. Moving on to the fourth and final pillar. It would be the fights. The fights within this tournament are very varied. You have an interesting use of powers which set up a unique set of scenarios, like people just, of course, outright anime flexing where Hiei fights someone using fire, not realizing that he is a fire demon himself, born of ice demons, which is a contradiction, which of course makes for wonderful, crazily powerful fire, and he controls black fire, which is a demon dragon from hell. Of course, you have the outclassing, you have the knife edge death matches. Name drop of an episode, literally. They dig their heels into the edge of the knives and have a death match, slugging it out. You have cerebral fights where you have to not have any access to your powers because they're blocked off by some magical dude using fucking war paint infused with spiritual power. So then you have to find ways to use things that aren't your own power to turn his power back on him. It's wild. There are so many different types of fights. You get unique to basic to, of course, over the top to anticlimactic and goofy. It gives you a wealth of different types of encounters that you can sit back and enjoy and not just get bored of two people yelling at each other or one person sweeping the entire competition or it all being a gag. It shows that there was thought put into how this encounter was going to play out to pace it properly and to keep the viewers and readers collectively over the ages intrigued and wanting to know how the next set of different encounters will play out. Not to mention duplicity, lies, tables being turned against people, teammates being restricted from using anything, people being held up, people getting killed. No spoilers, I'm not saying nothing. This tournament is worth watching. Because if you've never watched an anime and you think that all shonen are the same, even because they all have a tournament arc, everybody just fights each other, check this one out and see how the scenarios that Team Urameshi has to endure just for this arc alone. And tell me if your opinion hasn't changed. So, those are the 4 pillars. And this video is getting a little long. But the final thing I will say about this that elevates Yu Yu Hakusho and the Dark Tournament Saga above all others is the downtime. It does downtime in between tournament fights better than I've seen anywhere else. Aside from the progression of the fight, you get personal progression. You see people going through subtle character arcs. You see people going through outright trials of death that push them to their limit. You see old grudges getting put to rest of old competitors that have been through this before and have seen this song and dance. You get to see what people do when they have to cope with loss, what it means to rely on someone else. There is a lot of that heart and nuance in those quieter moments that a lot of people would say are boring or that's not what they came here for. But in those moments, you actually get to find out who they are and what they're fighting for. And some of them are finding that out right along as you're finding it out with them. And that's the beauty of the Dark Tournament Saga, is that little glimmer of hope within those small quiet moments in between bodies getting blown to bits. So, this is the first of many anime videos that I, Atima Tagara, are going to be doing. So let me hear what you think in the comments down below. Did I miss something about the Dark Tournament Saga? Was I right? Was I wrong? Was there better tournament sagas out there that I haven't even mentioned in this entire video? And if you like what you see, be sure to spread it around. Maybe some of your friends can subscribe and, depending on what it seems that you all like to see, I'll be able to cater my content a little bit more for your enjoyment. But that's all from me, Atima Tagar, signing off.